Hi guys, welcome back to the Adventure Amigos Games of the Generation. Number 3. Well, this is 2, Uncharted 2 at number 3 in my position of the top 10 video games of the last generation. Uncharted 2, Among Thieves. It showed the world what Naughty Dog can do when they push themselves. Graphically, it was the most stunning thing that I think console games had ever seen, arguably. Things with like the snow environments, it was all just amazing. It built on such a great base from Uncharted Drake's Fortune of this great mesh of action, adventure, epic landscapes and environments and traversing it with combat. Combat that I feel was amazing, and in fact the multiplayer on this game had me hooked for hours upon hours. I played it basically religiously for about 2 years. The game itself was stunning. I loved the story, I loved the narrative, the way that you played through. You start the freaking game in a train in a snowy environment that's hanging off the edge of a cliff. I mean, this game grabs you by the balls immediately that you hit play, and it doesn't let them go. It's pure action adventure, massive scope, and it was just amazing to play. I can't really talk about Uncharted without mentioning Nolan North. This is really, well, Naughty Dog's voice acting and motion capture, I think was a bit of a trendsetter, particularly with this game. Such a great character, humorous, definitely troubled, but really the light and humorous tone overriding of the Uncharted series is something that I really appreciate, and it is humorous, and his quips are great, and it's just great acting, and Elena and Chloe. Oh, Chloe. What a great game series. Number 2. The release date of this game I think is 2004-ish. Let me just check. 2005. This game came out in 2005. Next year it'll be 9 years. Nearly 9 years. And although we've had sequels, they weren't as good. Well, we've had one proper sequel and it wasn't as good. And I am absolutely clamouring for a sequel on the 3DS. Advance Wars Dual Strike. Now, this was actually my first foray into this series. Once I played this, I went back and played the Game Boy Advance games, and they were stunning. I was impressed at how graphically capable they were, even on a Game Boy Advance. Just the overall style and artisticness. It was just something that I just loved it. It was also quite an interesting balance of war, but bright colours. It's just interesting. But this game really took it to the next level.
Or rather, I came in at that level, and then when I went back, it was still really interesting to play, but not as good. But this is amazing, so that's fine.
It is just so good. It's like, if you've never played it, it's a bit like Command and Conquer, but with blocks, and it's turn-based. And it's just, the replayability on this game is probably one of the most enjoyable that I've experienced, in that you can play it over and over and over just to unlock everything. And what I mean by that is each commanding officer, because there are probably about 15 or so characters, maybe more, all with their own unique abilities, such as one character provides extra range to ranged units. One gives more firepower or more strength and defense on close-to-close units, those kinds of things. But each commanding officer, you can give them 4 special extra abilities during the match, such as higher defense when they're in mountains. And you've got, I think, 10 columns of individual abilities to pick from, and as you go through the game and play with individual commanding officers, you unlock more for that individual. So I ended up going through and playing the entire game over and over and over and over again with all commanding officers until I'd unlocked every single power-up for all of them, just for pure fun, and to see, when you play a particular level, you could absolutely rinse it if you had X CO with X for power-ups, and you could just rinse through it, and it's just fun to see how quickly you can do it and how high your score can be. The variety in units, land, sea, air, and just the different tactics of being in mountains and being on different environments, having it snow, having it rain, tidal waves, coupled with the overall style, and the fact that it was on DS as well, fairly early in its life. So touchscreen was still just really a great invention, and this game obviously uses it so well, being that it is a strategy game. It's just phenomenal. I mean, the story is also surprisingly, pretty decent for a Nintendo game, and for a what looks like quite a cutesy, light game. The villains in this are the Black Hole Army, I think they're called, and it's just and you can play as them. The best DS game, definitely. If you don't have this, you will have missed out so much. So we come to the number one spot, the number one game of the generation. I don't think there's going to be any surprise as to what this game is, especially having watched this video, you've seen that I love Naughty Dog. It's The Last of Us. It's just remarkable. I think this game really was a turning point for the industry as well. It showed to mainstream media as well that games can be something really thought-provoking, and they can have just an absolutely amazing narrative. Now, I personally absolutely love the gameplay as well. I don't really like stealth games, but it gave you option. It really did, games so many times say, oh, you can either choose to go the stealth route or choose to, go all guns blazing. And usually I don't care. It's not fun to have the choice. It's just there. But this really gives you a tactical choice. And the fact that it's like mushroom, fungi, zombies as well is terrifying. So it really does add a different layer that you have these choices, and that the real horror survival aspect of it really does come through more than most others in the genre. Crafting and finding supplies, and just the way that you can take down zombies, the limit on ammo, all of this feeds into your own scaredness and nervousness going through the game, and it really does heighten the emotion. The emotion that is already so high because of the characters, Joel and Ellie, two of the most well developed and stunning characters that have ever been in video games, if not the very best. We have to talk about the acting, the motion capture, the motion capture, and the acting and the voice acting are second to none. Again, arguably the best that we've ever seen in gaming. You really feel for their relationship as much to you as you do if you were them, if that ham-fisted speech made any sense. This game made me cry within 20 minutes. There have been very few, if any, games where I've cried, but it did it within 20 minutes, and I was, at that point on, I was totally hooked. The ever-escalating story, and dat finale, #dat finale. I loved the ending, I thought it was perfect, and just the whole game was constant surprises, down to the horrible villains that you come across the way, that that aren't the fungi zombies, that are humans, and also shows the similarities. And they've said in interviews that The Walking Dead was something that inspired them, and that's something that I love in The Walking Dead so much, is that really humanity can be as ugly as any monster. Down to across to sideways to other elements in the game, such as when you play as Ellie. Spoilers, you play as Ellie at one point, because Joel is out of action, and the game takes on a whole different feel as well, as you play this young girl, and it's not like a stereotypical thing of, oh, you've gone from this brutish man to this weak young girl. No, you're equally as strong, just strong in different ways. So you're faster and you're more nimble, but she's excellent with a bow, so she actually surpasses Joel in some ways. So it never panders to anything. It always feels fresh, and graphically it is probably the best graphics that we saw in this generation. It also came so late in the console's life, it was a really nice send-off to the PS3, a real swan song. So I'm stunned by how good it is. It is quite simply a masterpiece. So that's the end of my games review of the generation. I do actually have just one more thing to say. I'm currently playing Lego Marvel Superheroes, and that is absolutely phenomenal, especially for a geek like me, a big Marvel geek. It's just constant just nodding to the fans. It's real fan service, and it's really fun as well. It's hugely fun, and there's so much to do. Like, I've put in so many hours, and I'm still, barely even halfway through platinuming it, which I do want to do. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. That was my top 10 games of the generation. Check out more Adventure Amigos videos, because we'll be coming at you soon with more. Cheers. Naughty dogs, naughty dogs.